Hello everybody. So if you are following along, this is video log 2. Today is Monday, February 3rd. If I'm tracking correctly, I am right at about 7 weeks. So it's been about 3 weeks since the last video that I took. And although not a ton has changed, some drastic things have definitely happened. So in review, a couple of the things that are definitely still overlapping: heart rate changes, even more so now, major jumps in heart rate are still happening, which is something that I definitely saw happen through both pregnancies previously too, and that continues to happen. Is just that your heart rate jumps a lot faster. So I need a longer warm up. Of course, in classes and stuff that I teach, sometimes I've got to go at the pace of the format of the class, and so sometimes that's even not enough for me right now. So I found myself actually slowing myself down a little bit more and talking more in my classes even so. And along with that too is my heart rate feels higher than it is. So, on my heart rate monitor, it might say like 154, and 154 is feeling more like 165 right now. 165 is feeling like 180, 185. Because I can usually teach with my heart rate even at like 180, 185 and do things at pretty much that intensity while talking. And right now I'm having a little bit of difficulty with my heart rate above 165 talking and doing. If that will level out, I'm not sure. My first 2 pregnancies, I did not teach at this intensity or this level of volume of classes. I taught, but not to this degree. So this is definitely going to be something to see how it goes. My resting heart rate is dropping. It was really high at like week 4. I wasn't really getting below like 57. And for me, like even like 42, 44 is my usual resting heart rate. Today, it looks like I did get to about 49. That's the lowest resting heart rate that I have seen in weeks. I haven't been wearing my watch as much too because I've been home a little bit more. I'm not leaving the house as much because I'm super fatigued during the day. So fatigue and nausea unfortunately hit last weekend. So not this past weekend, but the weekend before. So I'm on like day 10 of extreme fatigue and nausea. I didn't have a ton of nausea in my second pregnancy. I did have it with Isaiah. It was really hard to get out of bed, really hard to get moving and motivated for the day when I was pregnant with my first. With my second, I had random bouts of nausea. I remember drinking like ginger ale and stuff at work, a little bit here and there, but not to this degree. Pretty much for the last week, the only thing productive that I did was go to work and teach my classes. It was a really rough week. This weekend I felt a little bit of pickup in energy, but still just about the same in terms of nauseatedness. I'm not really someone that throws up though, so fortunately I don't get sick like that. It's just that nauseous feeling all day long, kind of like you're car sick all day. So you kind of want to just close your eyes because you just want it to go away. And the only time it really goes away is when I'm teaching. So when my heart rate's up and I'm moving and I'm active, or eating has helped too. And I've noticed my hunger really jumped too in the last week. I don't remember that being a huge factor either. I remember having cravings and stuff, but I don't remember like hunger jumping. My hunger has significantly increased. I normally don't eat breakfast. I kind of do more intermittent fasting. It kind of just became a way with kids. I make them breakfast in the morning and sometimes I pick at it, but I don't really make my own. But right now I'm not getting away with doing that. I have to eat when I wake up in the morning, and I've been waking up so hungry that I'm even more nauseous because I'm so hungry. I am going to bed a lot earlier though, and so a lot of times I do eat at like 11, 11:30, 12 o'clock even. But because I'm going to bed, since I've been so tired at 9:30, 10, that could also be why I'm now needing breakfast. So it could be that factor that I'm going to bed earlier. But for sure, I'm definitely seeing an increase in hunger. And when I'm hungry, I'm more nauseous. By the time I got done teaching tonight, I teach 2 classes back to back on Monday. I was like completely nauseous by the end of the 2 classes. I'm probably eventually going to have to start eating something in between because I was starving and nauseous by the end of the second class. Um, on terms of food too, though, like I have no idea what I want to eat. I'm not really craving anything. Um, I don't really necessarily want anything healthy, but I don't necessarily like need anything bad either. I'm very confused is where I am food wise. Nothing really looks good, nothing really sounds good. I've been eating ham and cheese sandwiches a lot just because it sounds tolerable. Fruit, which definitely is something I've seen in all of my pregnancies, is the desire for fruit. It seems manageable, I guess, stomach wise. And carbs, obviously, carbs are always easier when you're nauseous, right? Unfortunately, like barely meal prepped the last week or so, which I normally do, normally. But yeah, I'm just having a hard time with what to eat, when to eat, and I just don't really want to eat, but I know I'm hungry. So I've definitely been having some issues there. Saturday night was the first night that I actually ate like probably a full meal, and actually did enjoy it. Me and my husband went out and I did eat very well. That was probably the only meal all week that I would say I ate like a full meal and was like full and satisfied. Otherwise, I'm just like, I don't know how I feel. It's weird. My stomach is also very irregular, but I'm also not eating regularly like I normally do. I'm not eating the same foods that I normally do, not eating the same amount of fiber. Definitely eating more processed carbs because it just seems to go down better, even though I'm not necessarily craving them either. It's just what's tolerable. But my stomach is not irregular. I also have not had coffee in over a week at this point. I can't even think about the idea of drinking a cup of coffee, which is nuts because I'm a coffee addict. I thought about making a cup today and I just was like, I don't want it. So I've been drinking tea, which with fatigue and drinking tea, not quite the same thing. Luckily, I love my job and I've been able to just turn it on and get in the zone to teach. But then it goes right back off again, and I'm pretty wish I had more caffeine. I'm drinking like Starbucks strawberry acai refreshers for the past week to keep me going. I've been making my own iced tea a little bit, some stronger brewed iced tea to try and give me a little bit more of a kick. So that's been a very weird factor is the no coffee thing. I remember maybe going a few days without wanting coffee at a time in other pregnancies, but not even a whole week. This is probably the longest I think I've ever gone with being okay with not drinking any amount of coffee. Nothing sounds good. Nothing. The other factor too is my skin, although it doesn't look as bad tonight, maybe. My skin actually was looking great at the 4 weeks. I was like, oh, I'm starting to see a glow. Nope, I'm super dry. I even had a dry patch on my chin for the last 2 weeks. My lips have been chapped. Not sure if my lips have anything to do with pregnancy, but my lips are never chapped. They've been chapped for 3 weeks. Doesn't matter what I put on them. They're chapped. But my skin definitely does not look so hot this past week. I'm definitely not sweating anymore or doing any more extra activity than normal. So overall, skin clarity. My water intake, though, which I should mention, also sucks. Which could also have to do with my skin. But even just water doesn't even sound good right now because I'm nauseous. I'm forcing myself to drink. But just drinking water just almost makes me feel like I'm more nauseous. Which really is terrible because I need to get in more water, which is also not helping my bowels. So water is a huge component. So I'm really trying to focus on it this week and trying not to be lazy about it. Because overall for pregnancy, being dehydrated is a really big deal. And then I think this is about last. I'm not just bloated at this point. I look pregnant. So I was hoping not to tell people that I was pregnant until like at least week 10. If you watch video 1, I talked about I've had a miscarriage between my first 2 kids around week 8. So technically like this week coming up, somewhere between 7 and 8, I had a miscarriage. So I definitely wanted to make it to like week 10, feel a little bit better. And, statistically, they say you really should wait until you're like out of the first trimester before you like announce things to people, because your chances of miscarriage are a lot less once you get out of the first trimester. But anyway, so I really would like to not have told people, but I might be a little bit pushing it at this point. Now it is the end of the day, and I am also bloated from the end of the day and stuff, but definitely already at the point of showing. Definitely did not show like this in my first or second pregnancy. I remember thinking I looked pregnant already because I naturally have a very lean core my entire life. And then I look back at pictures and I'm like, oh no, I didn't look pregnant. I just looked like I ate a sandwich. But no, like even one of my friends tonight was like, yeah, it definitely looks like more than just you ate a hoagie. So, and every pregnancy you tend to show sooner and sooner and sooner. And I've definitely seen posts of women with like their third, fourth, fifth pregnancy, like their uterus is just like, hey, we're going to do this. So that's definitely how I feel at this point. Is I've been wearing a lot of baggy shirts since at this point, friends, a few of my close friends know, and a lot of my family knows at this point, but, broad audience, the fewer you have to tell people, if God forbid something happens, the better. So ideally I didn't want to have to tell anybody yet, but it's becoming pretty obvious. So it doesn't look like I ate a cheesesteak anymore. So those are the big factors that have happened in the last 3 weeks, really. Fatigue, increased nausea happening. I'm not just bloated anymore. I officially look pregnant. Stomach's a mess. Hunger is definitely picked up. I just have to figure out what I want to eat for the next couple weeks. So, which sucks because I feel like it's like one of those things, like I make something and then I eat some of it, but then I don't eat all of it. And then if my husband doesn't eat it, I'm ending up trashing it. Which I feel like happened though a lot during my other 2 pregnancies, was a lot of wasted food just because you just want to eat different things any given day. So, that definitely sucks. Workout wise, last week I taught so many classes because I subbed some and I was so tired that I didn't work out on my own at all. So even normally when I'm teaching, which I teach about 10 to 12 classes a week, I work out on my own usually twice in terms of lifting. I don't do other cardio or stuff. I don't need it. But I do lift usually twice a week. And I did not. I am going to lift this week. Probably I am intending on lifting actually on my own twice this week. We'll see how I recover though. My recovery last week was super poor, which was the other factor. I did teach a lot, like I said, but it was the poorest I've probably been since pregnancy with my other kids. My legs were extremely sore. My upper body was sore. I did sub some classes, so that was also a factor. But overall, my recovery was really bad. I did get a massage on Friday, and massage therapist couldn't even make it to most of my body because my back already and neck, which probably was accumulation of just not getting massages for like a year. It's not just pregnancy, but everything was just so tight and so wound up. So, I am going to be a little more cautious about that. One of the other things too with pregnancy and being in the fitness industry and working out as much as I do is, I always have family members or even people who are friends who are, love my sister, love my mom. But it's always like, oh, well, I don't really know if you should be doing that. I think that's a little bit too crazy for pregnancy. That's also one of the reasons that I'm not a huge fan of like making announcements that I'm pregnant super early either, is because people always want to give you their opinion. I love you all, and you can tell me whatever you think, but I'm going to do whatever I'm comfortable with. And that's what I will do, and that's what I will share with you throughout this process. I'm still pretty much doing about 90% of what I normally would do at this point, like in class. Just if my heart rate's up too high and I can't talk, I've pulled back so that I can still teach through the class. But in terms of like giving the effort, it's still there. I noticed my power output in cycling has definitely went down last week, but my recovery was also really poor throughout the week too. So probably just a factor there. Might not even be that I was pregnant, it just might be that I'm sore. But yeah, so overall though, there are normally weeks where if I teach a lot, I do try to take down my personal workouts just for being smart. So I do that whether I'm pregnant or not. So we'll see how the next couple weeks go with recovery, and see if it gets better or worse, and see if I can still keep up a couple of my own lifts. I'm not lifting super heavy, but I'm still lifting, and I'm still lifting just as much as I lifted in class as I did before. So I haven't taken down weight at all. I haven't taken down volume in class or in any of the workouts that I did previous to last week. I'm still doing about the same load. I haven't been powerlifting though for really quite some time because of my teaching load. So I'm obviously not going to go to powerlifting right now that I'm pregnant, right? So you only do what you've been doing. You don't like jump into something new when you're pregnant. And that's one of the things that people ask me all the time is, well, I haven't worked, I'm pregnant now and I want to get physically active. Well, were you working out for the last 3 months? No. Well, then walking and yoga and some Pilates, my oven timer, is pretty much your options at that point. So you just have to be smart and do what you're comfortable with and what your body's been doing. And if you continue to do what you've been doing, that's fine. A lot of people during their first trimester, though, because we feel sick and nauseous, we stop. And once you stop for even 2-3 weeks, every week changes are happening in your body. So you have to just keep pushing through them to keep your body going. Otherwise, once you stop, it's going to be really hard to pick back up. So I'll keep you guys posted on how that goes in my recovery and how I take down volume and everything as we get further along. So right now, not a whole lot to report on that. So questions, comments, as always, you can always ask or comment below. Bye.